Hey, so welcome to today's video, and I'm going to be talking about categories, book categories. It doesn't matter if you're talking about low or no content or just regular books. It's important to put your books in the right categories. And let's just caveat it straight off that you do not want to be in a category that is not relevant, okay, because that will harm your account. And in some cases, KDP has been known to come down very hard on those people, so do not do that. Okay, now barring that, make sure you choose categories that are relevant, and I'm gonna share with you a special limited time offer, so stay tuned for the rest of the video. Now let's jump right into it. As I mentioned, you need to be picking relevant categories, but preferably low competition categories, so that you know, well, it's not guaranteed, but you have an indication, okay, of roughly how many sales it would take to get to higher up in that category. All right, and it's not all a big ball of wax at Amazon, KDP. The higher the rank you get in one category, it might improve your ranks across the board and so on. So it never hurts to have a better number in one category. So ideally, you want to be number one in a certain category, but if not, you want to be higher up, which will always help, rather than lower down, which will be less helpful, of course. So yeah, make sure you pick the relevant categories, but also preferably low competition categories. Now, how do we know whether it's low competition or not? Well, that's where you get some data. Before we jump into the data, let's always look at what the competition is doing. So books that are similar to yours, it doesn't matter if it's low or no content or just regular books, make sure you check what your competition is doing as well and see what categories they are in, and make sure those are relevant to your book. Okay, so let's pop in my favorite tool. Let's just hop on over to my favorite tool, Publisher Rocket, and what you can do is a category search. Okay, and you can just start typing in, so I don't know, let's say you're doing a business book. Okay, so you have all these categories that you can choose from, so books or Audible you saw earlier. That's ACX, so there's a lot of categories you can see. All right, now which categories should you choose? Let's just stick to books, just to keep it simple. Now, which categories should you choose? Like I said, choose the one that's most relevant to you. Generally, you have about 10 categories that you can choose. That's on top of the BISAC or BISAC categories that you choose. Those are only 2 BISAC categories that you're allowed, but the other 8 or so you can request that Amazon includes them. Request that Amazon includes 8 additional categories, and I've got a video that I've done previously for you to check out. Now, which categories you select, number 1 should be the relevancy. So you don't want to choose a category that isn't relevant to you. So business of art, but if your book is not about business of art, maybe your book is about, I don't know, let's say financial, accounting kind of thing, you don't want to be selecting this. All right, now once you've got a few of these categories, you want to filter through to see how many sales, let's say, to get to the top 10 in that category. And it has, this kind of data that Publisher Rocket has made available to you. So if you're going to go for business culture, you're looking at 238 sales roughly to get to the top 10 in that category, right? If you choose something like this, fashion and image, make sure obviously your book is about that. Now, if you choose that, then maybe it only takes 1 sale to get to the top of the category, to the top 10 of the category. So you have these data points that you can use for you to make your choice. All right, so that's how you need to take a look at the categories that are available to you. Number 1, number 2, select the ones that are most relevant to you, followed by using the data that's provided here. So you want to get in the top 10 of the category, or maybe you want to get to the number 1 in that category. So all these things, useful information that you should know about. Okay, now the second thing I mentioned was check out your competition. So if you click on competition analyzer, and I'm going to stick with just business, I know it's broad, bear with me, but let's say this is one of your, I've never read this, but I don't know anything about it, but let's say this is one of your main competition, okay, or similar books in the niche. see the categories, and you can see what categories these books are in. Okay, and naturally, if your book is relevant, then you can choose some of these categories. If not, go back to the category search and type in again. So it's obviously reset, but type in which ones are type in a keyword, for example, and scroll through to see which ones are relevant to you. Okay, so that's how I would use Publisher Rocket to find the best categories that are relevant to my book. Okay, so once I've got those, you can use the categories to your advantage. As I said earlier, it improves discoverability, of course, but most importantly, it gives you an edge over the competition. So any of your competitors who have not used the full, let's say 8 to 10 categories that they're typically allowed, you automatically have an edge over them, right? I've been one of the competition. I've actually been in the situation where I have not. I've only used the BISAC categories and I've just left it at that. That was a tremendous error on my part. So don't do what I did. Okay, obviously now I've gone in to update the additional 8 categories, making sure it's all relevant and everything. So I've done that. So make sure you do that as well. Now, just a final thing. I'm going to put a link in the description, but there's a special offer from August 30th to September 4th only. So if you're tuning in after, I'm sorry the offer does not extend, but I've got a special affiliate offer for Publisher Rocket where you can get their Mastering Keywords and Categories course for free. It's valued at $49.99, so check that out. And if you've been sitting on the fence about Publisher Rocket, this is a pretty good deal. They've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. So as I say, I'll include a link in the description below. Go check that out. And until next time, have a great day, everyone.